What is that? We're going to compare blood vessels today. I'm going to fill this out. I want you to follow along with me as I fill this out, because this information will definitely be on the quiz. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box here. And I'm going to call this box right up here the heart. This is the heart. Now, doesn't look like the heart. I know that, but that's what we're calling it. All right, now there's some tubes that come out of the heart, right? These tubes are called arteries. If blood is leaving the heart, it's traveling in an artery, okay? So arteries leave the heart. Eventually, when they get to their destination, blood will then enter these really thin blood vessels called capillaries. All right. Now, what happens in the capillaries, because they're so thin, this is where materials can be exchanged with the tissues. So oxygen could leave the blood. Carbon dioxide could enter the blood. Okay. It's at this point that the blood becomes deoxygenated. Whenever we talk about deoxygenated blood, we use blue. Once we're in veins, the blood has to go back to the heart. That's the function of a vein. And then we go back to the heart. And what do you think the heart does with deoxygenated blood? Well, where does it send it to do that? It's got to go to the lungs. Okay, so that's exactly what happens. We send this blood to the lungs. The name of the blood vessel that sends blood to the lungs, it's an artery, actually, but it's blue because it's sending deoxygenated blood. And then oxygenated blood comes back to the lungs. To the heart. But that's a vein. So again, I'm going to put arrows in here to indicate the direction. We're going to the heart. Again, we're in a vein. We're going away from the heart. Guess what this is? Pulmonary artery. It's the only artery in your body that will be colored blue on models. It's the only one. All the other arteries are colored red because they all carry oxygenated blood, except for that one. On the models, it's always colored blue because it's the only artery that goes away from the heart that's carrying deoxygenated blood. And this is the only vein that's going to be colored red on models, the pulmonary vein, because it's the only one that carries oxygenated blood. All the other veins are colored blue. So we have arteries in this column, capillaries in this column, and veins in this column. The direction of flow is away from the heart. In veins, it's towards the heart. And then capillaries, what they do is they just connect the two, right? So they're in the middle. If we were to draw an artery, we would do it. I'm going to erase that actually. We would do it like this. Why am I doing it like that? Well, because I want you to show you that the wall is the thickest. This is called a lumen. The opening is called a lumen. If I was to do the same thing with a vein, it would look much different. The veins, the muscle wall is much thinner, and the lumen size is bigger. Okay? So the muscle wall here is thick. Here it's thinner. But when I draw a capillary, well, we're talking about something that's going to be like that. Thinnest. One cell thin. Actually, I'm going to write that. One cell thin. I don't like that. Let's try that again. One cell thin. That's how thin it is. And it has to be like that because it's in the capillaries that things like oxygen and nutrients and minerals and carbon dioxide, all the gases, have to go right through the walls. When we talk, I'm going to skip the valves right now. Let's go down to pressure and pulse. Blood pressure, because it's closest to the heart. The heart is a pump, right? The heart provides pressure. Because arteries are right off the heart, they have the highest pressure. Because veins are the furthest from the heart, they have the lowest pressure. You cannot feel a pulse in a vein. Can't. You can only feel your pulse in arteries. Because there's so little pressure in veins, they are equipped with little valves. So when blood flows through these valves, it can't flow backwards. We don't need valves in arteries because the pump is strong enough, the blood is never going to come backwards. But after the blood flows through these capillary beds, it loses a lot of pressure behind it. So there's no valves in arteries, there's no valves in capillaries. but they are present in veins. Now, oxygen concentration is this is a trick question because the exception is the pulmonary vein and the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood, but all the other arteries in the body have blood that is rich in oxygen. So we're going to say 99% high oxygen. The reason why I'm not saying 100% is because of that one artery, the pulmonary artery. Capillaries carry both because it's in the capillaries that the blood goes from being oxygenated to being deoxygenated. And then in veins, mostly all the veins carry blood that is low in oxygen, except for which vein? The pulmonary vein. It's the only one. Those are the exceptions to the rule. So when I compare them side by side, I could start with the obvious. Oh no! You gonna die? All right. Let me know if you're gonna die. I'll get back. All right, so we're gonna start with the obvious, away from the heart. It carries blood away from the heart. That's the real definition, right? Veins to the heart. If we're in a vein, it doesn't matter if it's red or blue. If we're going to the heart, it's in a vein, right? Thick wall. Thinner wall. Small lumen. Large lumen. High pressure. Low pressure. Lack valves. Have valves. What else can we say? What else can we say? We could mention oxygen concentration. Yeah. Mostly oxygenated. Not totally, though. Mostly deoxygenated. What are the exceptions? Pulmonary artery. Pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein we color red. The pulmonary artery we color blue because it carries deoxygenated blood, and the pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. Here we see a nice side-by-side comparison. If the heart is up here, here's our heart, this box. And we're going away from the heart. We are in an artery. Nice thick wall, small lumen. As we go further away from the heart, the walls get a little bit thinner, lumens get bigger. When we get into capillaries, thinnest wall, one cell. Now things are being exchanged. Oxygen's leaving the blood, going to the cells. Waste products are entering the blood. Now the blood is deoxygenated. Walls are starting to get a little bit thicker again, but lumen size continues to get bigger. And now we will see valves inside of here as the blood really has very low pressure now, and we try to get it back up to the heart. Capillaries come in the form of beds. These are called beds here. So the blood flows through, enters capillary beds. These are only one cell thick. They're almost porous. That's why we lose the pressure. By the time the blood drains into veins, there's not enough pressure behind it to push it back up to the heart. We need valves in there. Once the blood goes through, it can't go back. We don't need them here because the heart is so close by the pump, there's enough pressure behind it to keep those liquids moving in one direction. All right. Any questions about arteries, veins, and capillaries?